Hey guys, my name is Ethan, this is Carberra. Welcome to the series where I teach you how to code in Python. Today we are tackling our first loops, so we're going to be doing while and for loops in this video. So it's going to be longer and more complicated than the if statement video, but I wanted to do that to introduce you to logical programming. And we're going to be doing our loops now. So a loop is pretty much as it says. It loops through a particular section of code until a condition is met. In some cases, sometimes you will just do like a while true and iterate through that forever in a main loop, but I will talk about that in a second. So we're going to start with while loops because they're slightly easier to get your head around. A for loop is kind of just an abstracted while loop in a sense. So we say num equals 0 for now, and I'll say while num is less than 10, print num, num plus equals 1, not plus equals 1. So if we do that, it will print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up to 9. It doesn't print 10 because it's only checking if it's less than 10. If you wanted to print 10 as well, you'd do equals 2, and then it would obviously print 10 at the end. It is printing the 0, it's just the, if I can bring the terminal window up, there we go. It's just, obviously it was off the screen. So that is a basic, well, that is a very basic while loop. The synonymous for loop, for lack of a better word, is something like this. So for I in range 10, print I. So if I actually just quickly make modifications just so they're the same. And if I hit B, or Control B to run it in Sublime, you can see that we get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9. So this is the while loop, and this is the for loop, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. They both do exactly the same thing. It's just the for loop strips you of about half your lines in this instance. So what this is doing, this is creating a generator. So if I just quickly list range 10. Oops, I need to print it out, don't I? That's the thing I need to do. We're not in the terminal anymore. So as you can see, once we convert it to a list, it literally just generates a series of numbers. I'll talk about generators. Actually, I think I have briefly talked about generators, haven't I? Just very briefly, though. So range is a generator, meaning it only returns a number when you need it. It doesn't create this whole list at one time. Essentially, it's the same as just iterating through a list, except it's more memory efficient, and it's faster as well. But essentially, while every step in this while loop, you're taking an already existing num value, which is here, you are saying use I as that. So for every step, iterate through this another one time and set that as I. So in this case, we are just counting up numbers. However, you can iterate through a list. So for example, hello, yeah, we're back to this, shut up. World, yay. You can run that. Oh, let's not paste that again. And as you can see, we're now printing hello world, yay. There isn't a for each in Python. It is literally just a for everything. We're iterating through an iterable here. We were iterating through an iterable, so we get back to it, here. So this is a generator. You can iterate through it. It is an iterator or an iterable. And a list is also an iterable. So for every element in your iterable, print the element. Hopefully that makes some degree of sense. There are other more complicated methods of doing stuff, so I'm going to be demonstrating this with the for loop specifically. So you can have a dictionary. So you may be thinking, what do you do if you have a dictionary? I'm going to show you once this thing decides it's actually going to work. So we're going to have 1 equals 1, 2 equals 2, and then 3 equals 3. Cool. So for I in dictionary, print I. This should work, right? Oh, it actually kind of did. It didn't error like I was expecting it to, but it didn't work as intended. You will sometimes get errors out of this. Oh, I know where you get errors actually. So what this is doing specifically is it's taking the key. So it's taking the 1, the 2, and 3. Of course, you have key value pairs. If you watch the data types video, or the collection types video, sorry, you would know that. And it's just iterating through the keys. Another way of doing this exact same operation is by doing .keys. And this will iterate through the keys. So this thing, and then this thing, and then this thing. You can also iterate through the values too. So we can do that. As you can see, it prints. I'm going to get rid of these other prints because they're annoying the hell out of me. I think it's that there. There we go. So you can see 1, 2, 3. So it's now iterating through these instead of the keys. So what happens if you want both? What happens if you want the key and the value? Well, you can do .items, and in this case, because we're just printing it, it will just print it. It returns essentially a list of tuples. That's not quite what it is, but I think it's a generative tuples. Could be, or is that iter items? I don't know. I probably should look that up. Actually, no. It returns its own data. Never mind. It returns its own collection type. I'm pretty sure. We don't need to talk. You don't need to know. All you need to know is that each individual item, so I in this case, is a tuple, which is useful to an extent. But that means if you want to print them individually, we've got to do print i's that and then I that, and it just gets, while that works, it's messy. It's not great. So what we can do is we can unpack that tuple in the for loop itself. So what we can do, instead of I0 and I1, so we can do I and j here. We can do I and j here. J is just a typical variable name for another iterator. So if I is already in use, standing for item, index, iterative, ignore that last one, it doesn't stand for that. But J is just kind of another one. So index 2, for example. It's just general. You can use whatever you want. I'm just using J. But if you do this, it does the same thing, because we are now setting the key from the dictionary. There needs to be a space there. Sorry if that's been annoying anyone. As I, and you can set the value as J. So in this case, I is being set to the word 1, and J is being set to the number 1. Of course, I apparently am physically incapable of coming up with an example that isn't confusing. But whatever, it's fine. So hopefully that makes some degree of sense. I would recommend doing like this if you're doing .items. The error I was talking about before doesn't quite happen in this way. It just happens if you iterate through the items and then you don't manage it properly, pretty much. But I would just recommend unpacking it like this, and you can unpack it many other places as well, but this is just kind of what I would recommend here. So that is the basics of loops, for loops and while loops. If you have any questions about those, then feel free to leave a comment below, or you can join Discord using the link in the description. While you're down there, I have all my socials as well, so Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, all that stuff for you to go look at if you want. But yeah, I'm going to end the video here. If you liked it, then say hello down below. If you really liked it, then consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads. If you really, really liked it, then consider supporting my Patreon. Of course, you don't have to, but really cool thing for you to do. With that in mind, I'd like to thank my awesome patrons for supporting me thus far. And I'll see you next time where we go more in depth. I just whacked the microphone on all this stuff. So we talk about breaking loops and we talk about for else's and while else's. Because yes, the else isn't just limited to if statements. But yeah, we're going to be talking about more advanced stuff with for loops and while loops, basically. So I'll see you for that.